The rain tapped against the leaded glass of the Georgian townhouse in Bath, a quiet, persistent reminder of the world outside. Inside, the air smelled of beeswax polish, old books, and the silence before a moral earthquake. It was 8:47 p.m. Maya, 20 years old, stood in the center of the living room, her crisp white linen top and neatly pressed charcoal trousers. The uniform of her fleeting professionalism, betrayed by the faint aroma of espresso clinging to her. Her mother, Eleanor, 52, sat on the Chesterfield sofa, pearls aligned, navy wool cardigan draped like immutable armor. In her hand, Maya's phone, and on the screen, the proof of her profound ethical failure. The grainy video showed their grieving client, Mrs. Whitmore, 75, speaking candidly, followed by Maya's added laugh track and cartoonish voiceover. "Ooh, look who's here." The design fairy with the magic tape measure. The video ended. The silence stretched like piano wire. "Mrs. Whitmore took it seriously enough to call me," Eleanor stated, her voice devoid of anger, weighted only by cold, precise disappointment. "She trusted us with her home, her grief. You turned her into a punchline." Maya's stomach dropped. She knew the consequence for such a devastating breach of professional trust. A consequence anchored by the slender, dark walnut paddle waiting on the coffee table. This lesson would be delivered to bare skin, ensuring the sting of professional shame was immediate, physical, and unforgettable. The persistent drizzle outside the Bath townhouse created a muffled barrier between the quiet, ordered world within and the ethical storm that was about to break. Maya, 20, stood exposed in the center of the living room. Her charcoal trousers and white linen top felt like flimsy paper against the cold certainty of her mother's gaze. She had just returned from her part-time job, still smelling faintly of espresso and cinnamon, the frivolous scent of her distraction. "Maya, come here." Eleanor, 52, spoke her name. Not sharply, not angrily, just with a quiet finality that signaled the absence of further argument. Eleanor sat on the Chesterfield sofa, her posture rigid, a tableau of unwavering integrity. In her hand was Maya's phone. Maya's stomach plummeted. She had thought the video was harmless, a small, private joke for her close friends. She thought no one would ever find out. But Mrs. Whitmore, 75, the grieving client, had found it. And now Eleanor held the proof of Maya's profound ethical failure. Eleanor pressed play. The grainy screen showed Mrs. Whitmore in her own drawing room, speaking candidly to Maya during a private design consultation. "I'd rather clean the loo than sit through another of your consultations." Mrs. Whitmore's voice was warm, if self-deprecatingly tired. Then, the video cut abruptly to the sound of Maya's superimposed, cruel laugh track and the cartoonish voiceover. "Ooh, look who's here." The design fairy with the magic tape measure. The video ended. The silence stretched, sharp and unforgiving. "You sent this," Eleanor said finally, her voice low, precise. "To your friends." You stole her voice. "It was just a joke, Mom. No one took it seriously." "Mrs. Whitmore took it seriously enough to call me. She said she'd been considering recommending us to her entire book club. Now she says she'll tell them never to hire a firm that treats its clients like punchlines." Eleanor articulated the professional catastrophe with cold clarity. "One person who trusted us with her home, her memories, her grief. Her husband died last year, Maya. She hired us because she needed someone who would listen, not mock. You didn't care." Maya looked away, her cheeks burning. "I didn't know." "You didn't care," Eleanor corrected again. Eleanor stood, walked slowly to the hall closet, opened it, and retrieved the slender, polished wooden paddle. It was dark walnut, smooth from years of use. The same one she'd used on Maya at age 14, after a serious lie about failing her exams. The same one Maya had convinced herself was forgotten. "You're not serious," Maya whispered, her eyes wide. "I'm more serious than I've ever been." Eleanor placed the paddle on the coffee table. Then she sat again. "Take off your trousers." Maya froze. "What?" "Your trousers. Now. I know this is humiliating, but humiliation is the cost of professional betrayal." "I'm not a child." "You're 20, Eleanor said, her voice quiet as falling snow. "And you've just acted like someone who's never been taught what professional responsibility means. The lesson must anchor deep." Maya's hands trembled. She looked at the paddle, then at her mother's face, not cruel, just profoundly broken by the failure of trust. She turned her back. Slowly, carefully, she unbuttoned her charcoal trousers, sliding them down and folding them neatly over the back of a chair. She stood in her white top and lace-trimmed underwear. The chill of the room raised goosebumps on her bare skin. She didn't cry. Not yet. Over the sofa, Eleanor commanded. Maya bent forward, pressing her bare palms flat against the velvet cushions. The dark walnut wood of the paddle pressed coolly against her bare thigh, heavy final. The first strike landed with a sharp, clean crack. Maya gasped, her fingers digging into the cushion. The second came slower, deliberate. "This," Eleanor said, her voice maintaining a measured, even cadence, "is for stealing her voice and privacy." The third, harder. "This is for turning her vulnerability into entertainment and mocking her grief." Maya bit her lip until she tasted blood. The fourth, a pause, a breath. "This is for thinking your superficial jokes were more important than someone else's dignity and the reputation of this professional firm." The fifth, the final one, landed with a sound that echoed through the quiet house like a bell tolling the end of her carelessness. Maya didn't scream. She didn't sob. She simply trembled, small, shivering, utterly still. The heat rose quickly across her bare skin, a sharp, searing physical consequence for her ethical lapse. Eleanor set the paddle down. "Stand up." Maya pulled her trousers back on slowly, her hands shaking. Her vision blurred. She walked to the window, staring out at the rain-slicked garden, at the old rose bushes Eleanor had planted the year Maya's father died. The same year Maya had learned the destructive habit of keeping secrets. "I thought it was harmless," she whispered. Eleanor joined her, standing shoulder nearly brushing shoulder. "It wasn't harmless," she said. "It was theft. You stole her trust. You stole her privacy. You stole her right to be seen as human, and you turned her into a punchline for people who don't know her name." Maya turned. Her face was wet, her eyes red. "I'm sorry," she said, voice cracking. "Not because I got caught, but because I didn't see her. Not really. I just saw a client. I didn't see the woman who cried when she showed me her husband's favorite armchair." Eleanor closed her eyes. One tear escaped, a single, silver track down her composed cheek. "I know," she said softly. "And that's why you're going to make it right."